When has patience ever worked in your favor? Every Saturday, I used to visit a flower shop to pick up daisies for my mom, who was in a nearby nursing home. The owner was this sweet guy around my age, and he always had my order ready when I arrived. I secretly hoped he'd ask me out, but since he never spoke to me, I assumed he just wasn't interested. One day, I walked in and saw a Karen absolutely losing it on him, demanding to know why her roses had died after she left them out in the sun. He was struggling to get his words out, stammering badly. Instead of showing any patience, she mocked him. That's when my Latina side took over. I immediately jumped in and put her in her place. She left humiliated, and I turned to check if he was okay. He stuttered out a yes and thanked me. That's when it hit me. He had a stutter. I asked if he'd always had one, and he nodded. The next morning, I came back, not for flowers, but just to talk to him. He told me his mom had started the shop, and after she passed, he took over to keep her dream alive. Then, blushing, he looked up at me and said I was beautiful. He admitted that Saturdays were his favorite because of me. I turned into some love-struck teenager, looked down, and nervously asked him out. At first, he looked thrilled, but then he hesitated. He explained that the only times girls had gotten close to him in the past were to make fun of him. That hit me hard, so I told him to ask me out whenever he was ready. A month later, I walked in one Saturday to find him standing there, holding an enormous bouquet. He walked up to me and in almost perfect speech told me that he'd fallen for me from the very first time I stepped into his shop. He said I was worth learning to speak properly for and that he'd be honored to take me out. Of course I said yes. 5 years later, during our wedding, he said his vows without a single stutter.